Hey, what's up, guys? We are back at it. We've got another video from Resonance. They just dropped a brand new one. Why do I look so fucking weird on here? Hold on, let me fix this shit. Oh, it's because the background's strange. Whatever, we're moving forward. It's from Resonance. Trapped and captured a tank. Insane operation of the AFU. I want to watch this real quick. My background, you guys, for those of you who are new here, my name is Saxon. I went by Vegas in the International Legion. Before I joined the Legion in 2023, I was a firefighter EMT in just outside of Fort Worth, Texas. That's pretty much it. Shit. I am still currently in Ukraine. I'm no longer in the Legion, but I will be here for the foreseeable future. So let's jump into this, guys. Again, this is Resonance. The link will be in the description below, as always.
This column of Russian armored vehicles is boldly driving to storm Ukrainian positions. FPV drones and artillery strikes are sent to meet it, stopping the enemy and smashing it to pieces.
Boom!
One of the tanks loses control and crashes into another hit armored personnel carrier. As it turned out, it was one of the newest.
Hey, one person commented on one of my last videos and said, "This isn't class. You shouldn't pause the video to speak. You should just do it over the video." Appreciate your input, buddy. But here's the deal: with Resonance, they talk, right? It's like it says, adapted for English-speaking viewers. I'm not going to talk over this guy. I'm going to share my opinion on pause. All right.
Russian tanks with modern electronic equipment. After examining the damage, the Ukrainians decide to repair it and take it off the battlefield as a trophy. But to do this, Ukrainian sappers, infantrymen, and tankers will have to make sorties into the gray area for 3 nights, moving in pitch darkness, through minefields, and under enemy fire. In this episode, you will see this unique.
Wow. So there's an enemy tank that was damaged, right, and abandoned, and these Ukrainian sappers are going to go try to fix it and take it, commandeer the Russian tank. But they have to spend 3 nights there. Something that's so crazy to me, right? Kind of a side note, but not really, because it's all over this conflict. Something that still is mind-boggling to me is these expensive ass tanks, whether it's the M1 Abrams or these T tanks that Russia uses, the Ukrainian tanks. They're so expensive, right? We're talking multi-millions of dollars, and they can be removed from commission, just completely out of the fight from these drones, which are a few $100 to a few $1,000. That's just so mind-boggling to me. Like that one that was, this was an expensive drone, but the one that was in, it was like a boat drone that blew up that destroyer or battleship, the Russian battleship. You know what I'm talking. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But that was gnarly, dude. That's crazy. That's a battleship's what? Billions of dollars? Fuck, man. They're getting ratioed.
And risky operation, and hear all the details from its direct participants. We are now near a captured enemy T-72B3M tank, made in 2022. The latest model? The very latest, yes. As you can see, this is not a Lend-Lease.
I missed it. Did you say T-72?
The very latest, yes. As you can see, this is not made in 2022. The latest model?
Dude.
The very latest, yes. As you can see, this is not a Lend-Lease. This is a tank that took part in the assault on our positions. On the approach, when they were not yet close enough to start landing. This column was broke by our artillery, FPV drones, drone drops, and was stopped.
We reacted to this tank battle a few days ago. Go check it out. It's the Avdiivka tank battle is the title of it. Very cool, dude. Intense.
An FPV drone hit this giant in the turret, but there was no penetration of the tank because the protection against the cumulative jet was activated. As you can see, the B3M also has protection at the back, meaning that it is well protected. The entire tower projection is protected by dynamic protection. Yes, but it got tangled in the wire, lost control, so the tank was moving, but they could not turn to the right or left. They ran into their BMP, which was hit a little bit in front of them, and they stopped. They stopped. They didn't turn off the fire control system. It was powered by batteries. The tank stalled, but there was power to control the systems. They were confused, didn't know what to do, ran out of the tank and started running away. But their crew was quickly caught up by our FPV drones, and that's it. The tank stayed put. This is a truly unique Russian weapon, and I think no one else in this war, including you, has seen anything like it earlier. Yes, this is the first such trophy in the entire full-scale war, of this particular modernization, of this year in manufacture, and with the kind of electronic warfare equipment it had. Now our specialists have begun to study them. It was nicknamed the T-SAR.
These BMPs, this is how we infilled and exfilled during mission, but it was before they started coming up with these cages. So you'd load up people in the back, but then there was easily 15 to 20 of us on the actual top, and we would link arms so we weren't falling off. So sketchy, but same type of vehicle.
T-SAR tank, or T-SAR-EW, because it had a lot of anti-drone protection. It had a large electronic warfare device on top and additional batteries. It was all tied up on the grill with ropes, like pirates on a ship. You can see how huge the metal structure is welded. And it probably held them that the tank was stopped only at the approach to our positions. An additional metal structure protects the part where the engine is located, so that it is not hit from behind by FPV drones or a grenade dropped from a drone, all of which, in their opinion, should roll to the ground. It was a cool operation. Our tank battalion unit was told that it was possible.
This is fucking rad, dude. This is like a huge ass touchscreen TV monitor or whatever. That's really cool.
To take almost an entire tank as a trophy. The guys planned how and what they would do. They needed to do a preliminary inspection, so they went on a reconnaissance at night. They examined the tank, looked at what needed to be repaired, what spare parts needed to be brought there to replace it so that the tank could go. It was 300 to 400 meters from the Russian positions. In general, the company commander and the battalion commander called me. They said there's a chance to pull out a trophy tank. They showed where, what the circumstances were. We all started planning this operation together. Who can say if this engine was working or not? That's the main question. It's simple for me. I'm in the Army. Received an order. The company commander came and said, so-and-so, there's a little tank that needs to be pulled out. I say, if it needs to be done, let's go. And perhaps, first of all, it should be said, what we pulled it out, that you are interviewing us now. This is already the final stage of execution, which we simply brought to the end. It was the logical conclusion of this operation, an operation that involved a lot of people. The fact that you see only our faces doesn't mean anything. On the right side, so you'll have to reverse it and go left. Maybe just turn around in place and go? I think it can move. BMP? First we took 2 people from the cruise. They'll go. The guys went. This was the first attempt, at night. At first, the Sappers went because there were mine barriers and everything else. They managed to...
Sapper, Ukrainian sapper, or they're typically Ukrainian. One of the most dangerous positions, jobs in this conflict. I saw so or heard of so many sappers getting hurt or killed just because they're the first to go in. Somebody, an infantry unit notices, hey, that looks like an anti-tank mine could be buried there in the road. Sappers go in, try to check, defuse, but and there's so many improvised explosive devices that you can't really train on, right? You train to defuse, and some of them are primed to explode while trying to be diffused, specifically to get the sappers, right? I don't know. That would be that job in particular takes balls of steel, dude.
Find out some circumstances.
And they're not walking up there in full bomb suits. They're walking up like every other soldier in a plate carrier and a helmet.
Under which it stalled, because you can't see everything from a drone. You just see that it's standing and that it hits something there. They already said that there was wire wound on the tracks, and that prevented the enemy crew from turning it in time. Most likely, because of this, they collided with the disabled BMP. After that, they looked at everything that was there, made conclusions about the location of the turret. At first, there was a problem getting inside to the driver's compartment, because the tank, when it crashed into this BMP, it stalled. They couldn't start it. They had problems. The guys examined the tank. It was intact, not punctured, not burned out inside. They found out that there was a lot of wire wrapped around the chassis, on the tracks and rollers. They discovered that the tank had miraculously not hit an anti-tank mine, and it was right between the tracks. Another explosive device was also caught in this wire.
So there was an AT mine in between the tracks of this tank, and these guys are working on it. Holy shit.
They asked the sappers for help. The sappers came in and did their job. That is, they removed the mines. Our guys completely cut out the wires that were in the way to free the tank, and it could move.
We trained a bit in the Legion, how to, if you're, in a really shitty spot and there's a minefield in front of you, you don't have sappers, how to find them. And dude, even in training, trying to find these mines was scary as shit. I couldn't imagine if they were alive.
The batteries also needed to be replaced in order for the tank to move. The enemy crew that escaped did not turn off anything. Of course, they were just running away out of fear, so the fire control system drained all the batteries. It's just not clear what enemy wanted to prove by this, like driving. What did we think? That there's wire and that's tangled too much? And we came to cut it. We looked. Yes, it could interfere, but it's not critical, so that they couldn't control it. And then, well, okay, it crashed, it stalled. So start the engine again. I don't know. But in a state of such fear, you can forget anything you want. Our guys returned to the base, prepared everything they needed, and the next night, April 4, they went to repair the tank. A cylinder weighs about 20 kilograms, but one tank battery weighs 70 kilograms.
Shit.
The infantry helped us. The infantry guys carried the batteries for about 1.5 to 2 kilometers. They had to walk across a field and a road with craters from artillery and under enemy fire. In addition, the guys were carrying all this at night, in the dark. And of course they could.
If you've been following along this channel, you know how much I hated moving at night, especially on these roads right here. It was just, I was there over the winter, so God, it was muddy and there was hard ice and soft mud and it's pitch black. God, it was just miserable, dude. So the fact they're carrying a whole ass tank battery, I've said this before, but these Ukrainians are not human, dude. They are straight up mountain goats. These guys are gorillas.
could not illuminate the path with anything to avoid being detected. They brought everything to the tank. This operation was performed by 7 of our soldiers. We went with the Sappers. The Sappers cleared the road in front of us from anti-tank mines. They collected mines that were under the tank, which miraculously it didn't hit, and then started working. Together with Bader, we put the batteries inside. I jump in there right away, and Bader was already lifting them and passing them to me. It's very difficult because you're in a confined space. You often have to lie like this. They hand them to you like this. You push them inside with such manipulations. When the guys were charging tank batteries, the shelling really started.
Oh, shit.
The enemy artillery was not hitting them directly, but very close to them. So to put it mildly, it was not very comfortable for them to work there. First of all, it was at night. They didn't use any lights. It was not very comfortable for them to work. They did everything quietly and in complete darkness. And the guys were just great. They didn't stop replacing batteries, even under fire. They continued the work and finished it in the same night. Ilya is definitely a tiger. I'm shocked. He's so calm, with mustaches. We unloaded the batteries, anti-tank mines, and our batteries weigh 70 kilograms each. Ilya starts putting them there. We pull out the first one, everything's fine. Damn, something's exploding somewhere. Anyway, we pull out the second one together with Ilya, and right here near, bam! We're all on our knees at once. And it's such a dangerous moment. We were really being shelled. Ilya just explodes without a shadow of a doubt, turns around and goes for the third battery. He's really a tiger. I knew he was a normal guy there. You could trust him and so on, but that much? And the very next night, the operation lasted 3 days. Bader and Tenor arrived back at the tank. Just 2? Yeah, just 2 of them. It is clear that they were protected by infantry, artillery, and our drones. They were flying and controlling everything, watching them, because the guys were without light, and so they were told by radio what was happening around them. We gather all our things, throw them on top with crossed fingers. I think, well, let's go. Click. Engine didn't want to start the first time. But the second time, everything went smoothly. It starts up. I already told Bader in advance, I'm about to start. You hide in the turret right away, because as soon as we start up, the shelling will begin. They'll realize a tank is moving.
Haul ass!
And off we went across the field.
That's so sick.
Bader took a seat in the combat section so that he could see better from above. Since they were driving at night and couldn't turn on the headlights, he could use the radio to control and give commands to Tenor. Tenor got into the driver's seat. They started the tank and drove off. Everything was fine. The tank was driving without any problems. But when they drove into the nearest settlement, the enemy artillery started firing on them and the settlement. The enemy simply could not understand whether they were coming to attack them or going away from them, so they were just shooting randomly. The guys were driving at maximum speed to get to the point determined by the plan as soon as possible. Because of the darkness and the dust from the artillery and the tank, the guys did not see the crater from the bomb, and it was impossible to see it.
Shit.
And they flew into this big hole at full speed. Tenor hits his head on the armor on the hatch of the tank and loses consciousness.
Oh, damn.
The tank stalls. He was unconscious for about 3 to 4 minutes. I lose consciousness. I quickly come to. Click, darkness, then boom. I start to see something. I realized the tank stalled because I rammed into the soil. Potholes from KABs are a very nasty thing for such a vehicle. It usually doesn't come out of it. Because the ground is loose, the tank settles on its belly, and the tracks can't dig through the soil. You just crawl in place and stay there. I try to make one lunge forward. I realize that it's stuck with a barrel in the ground and the tracks can't dig through.
Oh my God.
It's burying itself even more. I hit the brakes. I stay in that position, in the position I managed to get into. I rev the engine up to 2,000 RPM. It's almost the peak for it. I make a backward lunge, stay in the position, again on the brakes, I rev the engine again. But now I'm engaged not the first gear, but the second, to make the fastest possible forward lunge and get out even more. I slightly lifted from the point where I was initially. But I still didn't have enough traction from the tracks to get out and go up. I twist the hull a little and start making movements. Movements like this along the radius of the funnel. I already see that the end of the funnel is deep. I've distanced myself well. Couldn't imagine the size of this funnel, but I guessed. I try at this moment, when I climbed high, just to...
What is this funnel he's referring to? Let me know in the comments. I'm confused about that. Is he referring to the barrel? I don't know.
Treat. The tank just catches onto something relatively firm, and I start to dig out. I was very happy at that moment.
Oh, they got out.
If the engine weren't so powerful, we wouldn't have got out. But Ilya was just ace, back and forth, all clear.
Epic.
I'm driving, and there's the next KAB crater. Luckily, I saw it a bit earlier. I managed to adjust, and I drove into it with one caterpillar. The tank jumps like this and lands on the ground. Then I continue moving. Later, at the end of the village, I saw markers for turning onto another road. The tank is quite a noisy thing, and you don't hear everything outside of it. The medics, they covered us. I counted 35 shells hit the village because the occupiers decided it wasn't their tank being stolen. But our tanks were coming to storm them. The tank, as I said, was manufactured in 2022. The charging system is in good working order. The fire control and everything else that is a part of this complex is also in good working order. The gun is firing. The night sight is a little beaten. It can be replaced and will work. That is, everything is in good condition. And now, this tank will work for our victory.
Hell yeah.
If this protection is a factory option, it's normal. But everything beyond that, and this hut behind, is already homemade. The same goes for that wooden pallet and everything else. Why do they do this? It's extremely inconvenient. Suppose I'm the driver and I need simply to check the transmission oil. I'd have to cut through all this stuff, lift it somehow. I don't even know how. It's all welded.
It's almost like the Russians weren't even considering trying to fix anything, or they wouldn't consider, right? Like almost like it's a single-use tank. Get as far as you can, create as much damage as you can, and then leave. It's interesting with the way, with what they're saying here.
It's not like you can just unscrew a couple of bolts and take it off. It's all welded. You can't even reach the lid. You have to cut it, open the lid, check the transmission for oil, whether it needs topping up or not, then close it. And do I have to weld it again? So in terms of convenience, it's zero. It's junk. It's all made. How can I show you? The mesh is sticking out. There's also mesh sticking out there. It all catches on. What did they want to achieve? Make it inconvenient? So, well done. They did it. They don't seem to care. They just waste such new equipment. They probably have a big problem with personnel. Will receive state rewards. All participants in the operation to capture the trophy tank. Friends, please subscribe to our set.
That was badass, dude. This is way different than the typical combat footage that we watch, but I thought that was very cool. And I think it's cool that there's enough, the Ukrainians have enough surveillance and intelligence that they knew, hey, that tank could still be operable. You know, there's hundreds of blown up vehicles out there, if not thousands. And they recognized during that fight, like, this one could still be working. That's so sick. I know nothing about armor and stuff. What I do know is if you've ever been near a tank like this, when it fires, that shit will shake your bones, dude. It is like it's like a reverb that I've never felt before. But anyways, that was sick. More videos to come, obviously, tomorrow. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.